Hey guys, it's Ara here. I just wanted to do a little brief video on the Swift mentoring process and how that basically goes for you. You know, just the ins and outs, what you need to prepare for in order to have as good a time as possible during the mentoring process. Um, I've spoken about it a little bit before, but I haven't really gone in depth. And this is just for people who don't know what the mentor process is like or haven't really heard anything about it before. Um, Basically what happens is when you get hired, if you're a driver with no real experience, just kind of the training experience that you needed to get the CDL, what you're going to do is you're going to need to find a carrier who's going to allow you to train with a mentor in order to earn your hours, so that way they can give you a truck that you can drive on your own and get some experience for your resume. Swift is one of the companies that allows you to do this. I think there's Schneider and CR England. They also do that depending on if you're near one of their terminals. You can check them out. But all I really know is Swift. That's where I started. Um, with Swift, you have to do a 200-hour program. It's basically going to be 50 hours of drive time for just the student. So it's just going to be you driving. The mentor is going to be sitting in the passenger seat, just grading your performance, watching to see how often you leave the lines on the road. You know, you have to stay in between the lines. How often you get distracted. How often you make little mistakes, like, you got to make your right turns, your left turns. You can't hit the curb. You can't hit signs. You definitely don't want to hit cars. And they're also going to make you, well, my mentor didn't really make me do this, but we did it occasionally just to make sure that I was paying attention, just commentary driving. So you want to let your mentor know that you see cars coming on the on-ramp ahead of you, and you want to let him know that you're alert and you notice those cars, just to make sure that you're paying attention. You might want to remind him, because I know the mentor can get kind of bored too, and even if they're bored, or if they're really actually paying attention and grading at that moment, just a little heads up for them. Be like, hey, I see these cars coming on the on-ramp. I'm moving over to the left lane, just so that they can get in and I don't have to worry about slowing down for them. Your mentor will appreciate that. And I think in some upgrade tests, depending on who you get, they're going to want to see that too. They're going to want to have you comment on your driving and show that you're actually paying attention and you're noticing things. So just kind of keep that in mind. Just, if your mentor doesn't make you do it, just try to mentally do it. Just be like, all right, I see these two cars here. I'm moving to the left. Just that when you get to the upgrade test later on, you don't have to worry about it. It's just second nature. So the first 50 hours is just going to be you and your mentor, but you're going to be the only one driving. My advice is get that done as soon as possible, just because it is boring being the only one driving all day. You don't really learn as much. I mean, I didn't really learn as much because I didn't really get to see my mentor do things. Other than when we stopped to pick up a load or drop a load, just teaching me how to do basic trailer things like hook up a trailer, do your pre-trip, what Swift expects from you on your pre-trip versus what you had to do to get the CDL, which is a little bit more extensive. So it's just kind of like, you're supposed to know all the parts for the truck when you get your CDL, but these are the main things that you want to look for when you're out on the road versus your pre-trip at a terminal where you have the time to check every little single thing and you should be doing your little checklist. You also want to you just want to get those first 50 hours done as soon as possible. That's kind of the boring part. It'll be like your first paycheck. If you can get it done between the week, that should be a pretty good little maybe $600, $650 paycheck. And then the next 150 hours are going to be you and the mentor practicing as a team. So you're basically going to be running loads where your mentor is driving. He finishes his 11 hours. Then you switch. Your mentor, if he feels comfortable, is going to take a nap while you're driving. And, if not, he might stay up a little bit. My mentor, the first couple days that we teamed, he stayed up, 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Just to kind of make sure that I was doing all right. And then as soon as he saw that, we were on the highway, I was paying attention. I had the radio on and I was interested, so I wasn't really going to fall asleep or anything. He felt comfortable enough to go to sleep. And I'd wake him up every time I stopped to go to the restroom or something, just so that he could go to the restroom, and he did the same for me. So um, for those 150 hours, you just want to get into the habit of trying to drive as much as you can, get it done as fast as you can, get those big paychecks in the first couple weeks. Definitely do your 40 backs as quickly as you can. I got mine done pretty quickly. I think at the end of my first week, I was already like 15 in. And so you want to get those done as soon as possible. You also want to allow yourself to learn the process. My mentor, he kind of told me how to back instead of letting me learn how to back. So I feel like I definitely learned it a lot more quickly when I was already on my own, but I feel like I should have already known it by the time I got on my own. So if you have a mentor that's willing to let you mess up a little bit, not mess up as in like you have to make huge adjustments, or the mentor has to get you out of the truck and get in the driver's seat and correct what you've done. But as long as you can take your time, your mentor can guide you from the outside of the truck and allow you to make those mistakes, and oversteering, countersteering, learning how the trailer reacts to your movement or to your input. Then by the end of those 40 backs, you should be all right. You should be good on your own after those 200 hours. But I feel like sometimes the mentors can get a little bit too. They can micromanage a little bit too much, and it can kind of hamper your learning experience because you have someone telling you how to back as opposed to teaching you how to back, where you can do it on your own and see what happens if you make a mistake. You do your 40 backings. Just practice little good habits like cleaning all your windows, cleaning your mirrors whenever you make a stop, getting the bugs off your windshield for your mentor. Just set up that system of responsibilities where you guys set the truck up for the next person to drive. You keep it clean. You let your mentor know that you're actually paying attention when you're driving. Make them feel comfortable. Just get used to driving as fast as possible and as much as possible. During those 150 hours, you'll probably also learn a little bit more of how to properly schedule your loads, how to look for loads, do your Mach 30s, so that way you keep the truck rolling. So the first 50 hours is just making sure you know how to drive, making sure you can drive safely, making sure you're paying attention. You're not going to fall asleep at the wheel. You understand the rules of the road, the etiquette. And then those next 150 hours is kind of like your advanced road training. You want to learn how to maintain your vehicle. Every time you stop, you want to clean your windshield. You want to get all those things ready for yourself. If you just keep those habits up, you'll basically always have a clean truck. You don't have to worry about dirty mirrors, anything like that. And you'll learn some advanced techniques like planning your routes ahead of time, getting loads before you even emptied the load that you're on. That way you always keep the truck rolling, as well as speaking to other people like your planner, your driver leader, your DM, whoever you need to get a hold of to solve a particular problem. Make sure you ask your mentor about those things. Make sure you have a little list. What I did was I created a list of all the little departments that I need to contact if anything happens. I have on-road, I have permits, I have the terminal leaders extension. So just make sure you get all those higher-ups numbers, so that if anything happens after you get on your own, you already have your little list of numbers and you know who you need to call in what situation. Make sure you learn all of your macros for your upgrade test. You want to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 6, and then your 9, of course, your 10, your 30 to look for more loads. So you also want to make sure that you and your mentor kind of casually quiz each other on that, so that way you get it by the time you do your upgrade test. Have them show you little tricks like how to get extra shower tokens off of your fuel. Definitely get all of your fuel cards. Your Flying J, your Petro, your Loves. Get all those cards so that way you can reap some good rewards like some shower tickets, free refills, whatever you do. And let me think, what else can you learn here that's important during this time period? Make sure you go through a lot of hills and cities. Like my third day, we went through California, we went through Los Angeles during peak traffic. So that was kind of nerve wracking for me the first time, but you learn to adjust and you learn to kind of expect the stupid things that people will do when you're driving in a congested area. You also learn to kind of not so much fear the hills, but just, you learn a healthy respect for the inclines and the grades, and the difference between something like an 8% and a 5%, and how that's going to affect, how your load is going to affect that grade. You want to learn that as well, and get your mentor to teach you how to handle those hills without necessarily putting yourself in a dangerous spot. The first couple times it's going to be kind of scary, but you just have to get used to it and learn that it's not going to go bad unless you really, really aren't paying attention. Let me think, what else is important here? Getting your loads, keeping the truck rolling, keeping the truck clean, learning your etiquette, your road etiquette, seeing who's above you. If you have any other issues with your mentor, make sure you also get your driver manager for your mentorship period. Make sure you're kind to them, you respond to them, you check in with them, you have a good dialogue with them, because if anything happens between you and your mentor, if you don't like your mentor, if your mentor doesn't like you, if you guys have a disagreement that kind of ruins the teaching process, or you just have somebody who is kind of a unclean person, that's the person you want to get in contact with in order to get you in a different truck with somebody who might be more beneficial to you. I've heard all the horror stories of mentors who make their students, sleep on the top bunk, or, they don't turn the truck on at night, and, you're left to the elements. If it's cold, you better have as many blankets as your mentor, or if it's hot, you better hope that the mentor has a fan that he'll point your way a little bit to kind of keep you alive. So definitely just make sure that you don't take any shit from your mentor. And if you do, and you find yourself in an uncomfortable spot, just get in touch with whoever you need to get in touch with in order to get yourself out of that situation. As long as you have a mentor where, you both show each other some respect, the mentor allows you to learn, they teach you things, they allow you to ask questions, and they give you good answers, or they, better yet, they put you in a situation where you have the ability to learn with them at your side, then that's a good thing. You're on the way to having a good educational experience where, when you get on your own, you'll be a little bit better equipped than, the people who stick with a mentor who isn't necessarily, worried about whether or not they're paying attention, or even paying attention to whether they're able to stay awake at night, or, all that other stuff. So just make sure you have someone who's watching your back and someone you can contact after. Develop a good relationship with as many people as you can. Get as many phone numbers as you can, because when something goes wrong your first couple months of driving, you can always contact your mentor. You can always contact your driver leader, but definitely the first person I call for questions is going to be my mentor, just because we have a good relationship and he's been driving for a while. So you want to speak to the other experienced drivers before you think something is an emergency and call the terminal or something. So that's basically the mentorship process. It's just preparation for your upgrade test. So I might do a little bit of a video on what the upgrade test is like later on. But yeah, just don't worry about the mentorship process. Just get all your materials that you need on the checklist, get your orientation done, come prepared to drive. Get it done as quickly as possible. Whether you take 4 weeks or 3 weeks, 5 weeks, you're basically going to earn $2,000. So you might as well just get it over with. That way you can get a real paycheck. And just watch out for any issues. And if there's issues, just go to the appropriate channels or make the appropriate responses that you need to do in order to fix those issues. And as long as you find somebody who's willing to help you out and let you in their truck, you'll be fine. So that's it. Peace.